Welcome everybody to the Debate Football Podcast, courtesy of Haters Television. I've got two journalists with me. I'm delighted to have Simon Collings from the Evening Standard. Simon, good to have you here. And Patrick Barclay as well, a veteran award-winning journalist of Fleet Street. We won't go through all of them, we'll be here all day. So let's talk about the FA Cup fifth round week. It's midweek, not at the weekend, which is one for us to get our head round. I'll be covering Norwich Tottenham or Tottenham Norwich, which would be an interesting one. But tied around, arguably, at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea against Liverpool. Yeah. This is an interesting one because you've got inconsistent Chelsea against a Liverpool team who've had a bit of a setback or two in recent days.
Yeah, they have. It'll be very interesting to see how they respond. I would be astonished if they don't respond in an animated way, which is not good news for Chelsea. I don't think there is any sense in which it's a good time to be playing Liverpool, especially as when we've paid tribute to this Liverpool, it is that one of the factors we've brought out is that Klopp is able to change his team, bring in the likes of Milner, Lallana, other squad players, without altering the quality of the performance. You might say, well, the quality of the performance in recent weeks has not always been classic. But by and large, he's got a good squad. He's got a good squad ethos. It reminds me very much of Manchester United under Alex Ferguson, where he could make 4 or 5 changes. Any other manager would almost expect a dip in performance when you break up the team that much. It didn't happen to Ferguson's United, and it doesn't happen to Klopp's Liverpool. So I don't think there's too much solace for Chelsea there. The good news for Chelsea is that they are a good team. You know, the quality of the football, the attacking football, can be really, really good at the Bridge. No, they're not as good as Liverpool, but they've got home advantage and they've got a puncher's chance.
What happens to Jurgen Klopp's team selection on this occasion when you look already at what Liverpool have done? Weakened sides, twice against Shrewsbury, against Everton before. Does he go full strength this time round?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we've seen obviously what he's done in the FA Cup so far, to the extent where, you know, he didn't even manage that replay against Shrewsbury. But you would think, given their commanding position in the Premier League, you would go full strength against Chelsea. And I mean, you can rest some players in the league. We saw against Watford they lost, but they're still absolutely flying in that, so there's no need. So I would think he would be inclined to go full strength. Certainly from Chelsea's point of view, there's no shadow of a doubt that Frank Lampard will be going all out for the victory, playing his strongest team, because he knows that really this month now, March, is probably going to define what his first season at Chelsea looks like.
True.
You know, you've got this FA Cup tie, you've got 3 big league games and Carlo Ancelotti coming back to Stamford Bridge, Manchester City, and then also he's got Bayern Munich in the last 16, and whether they pull off a miracle or not, probably not going to happen. But for this young team, if they go to Munich and get a bit of a chasing defeat, that's not really going to be ideal for the end of the season. So this month, really for me, for Lampard, feels like the month where we will decide how this first season has been, and he'll want to start it in the right way by getting a result in the FA Cup.
Is this a major crossroads for Chelsea for you?
I think, it is as far as this season. I agree with Simon and your implication that it is for this season. I think that Frank Lampard, because of the respect and affection in which he's held at the Bridge, will get more time than others. Maurizio Sarri might. I think also the quality, the attractiveness of the football buys you time. So I don't think it's a necessarily a crossroads in terms of Lampard's tenure at Chelsea, but I think definitely this season it is,
And do you expect Chelsea
I expect a great game, actually.
And do you expect Chelsea to go full strength like Simon said?
Yes.
Considering perhaps they're wavering in that bid to finish in the top 4.
I know that's true. I mean, the priority is Champions League qualification next season because of the money and the clout that it gives you in the transfer market. I don't know whether the boy from Ajax has got a release clause, but because he's a great signing, but I don't know about that, although it did occur to me looking at the league table last night. But no, that is the number one priority, but for goodness sake, the chance of an epic victory over Liverpool at the Bridge, is something that you don't mess about with, especially as, to an extent, injury is picking his team for him.
Yeah, okay. The other big cup tie, and I say big because on paper you'd look at Tottenham against Norwich and it wouldn't scream out at you. But this takes on an added new meaning when you look at their last league performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Tottenham fans are still very much jury out with Mourinho.
Yeah.
I mean, when he came in, we saw the bounce, as you'd expect, from the new manager. But in fairness to him, he's obviously had the difficulties with Kane, with Son. But watching them yesterday against Wolves, it wasn't the most attractive style of play. And if we know anything about Tottenham in years gone by, the players like Hoddle, they play good football. Yeah. And Paddy made the great point about Lampard. When the football's good, it buys you time. When you're playing, youngsters, it buys you time.
Yes,
Mourinho typically doesn't do either of those two things. He's leaving himself in a difficult situation.
Be careful, he might come out with that list again.
So he's leaving himself in a difficult situation. And really, this game against Norwich kind of feels like a big point for their season, Tom. Because if they go out of this, they've got Leipzig away again, like Chelsea. It's difficult to go.
I think if you look at it from the Tottenham point of view, though, there's one thing that I think could help them. Norwich had a magnificent victory in the league, which has given them genuine hope of a great escape. I mean, it'll be an extraordinary thing with only 10 games to go. But that now is their trophy for this season. They can see a chance of survival. I think you'll see a lot of team changes.
Do you?
Yes.
Are you actually just on the Tottenham line? Are you still unconvinced by Mourinho?
No, I'm increasingly unconvinced after that performance against Wolves. I didn't actually see it because I was watching the other game.
To be honest, the previous games haven't looked out of kilter to what we saw anyway.
No, I was at the bridge, at Stamford Bridge, and I saw them there. They were dull, and Tottenham teams really you don't want dullness. But on the other hand, he's lost his two of the league's best forwards. So I think that's unfortunate, and to that sense you shouldn't judge him. But I think in the jury that Simon describes, I think they're probably the ones arguing for Mourinho now are the ones on the back foot, aren't they? And I think that it is I want Mourinho to succeed wherever he is, because I think at his best he brings light and entertainment to our league. But it's beginning to have a feel of Manchester United about it.
Yes, exactly. But Patrick, you've written about Jose at length.
Yeah.
So are you surprised that there's a sense of deja vu by what we're seeing during these early days at Tottenham?
Yeah, a little bit surprised, because I thought the return to London, staying in en famille rather than in the Lowry Hotel, all of that would make him happier and therefore more successful. At the moment, and we're judging on a very early stage when Tottenham are injury hit, and we haven't even mentioned the loss of Eriksen. Okay, Lo Celso has balanced it a little bit, and Eriksen wasn't good, but they've still lost the main playmaker of the successful era under Pochettino. So I think you have to cut him a little bit of slack because of that. So, but really I'm not surprised. And there's no sense in which we are seeing, the thrilling Chelsea of... You work out, it's 15 years ago.
I know. His first spell.
But we still want that. We'd happily settle for his efficacy in the early years at Real Madrid, or for his efficacy all the time at Inter. But no, it just seems an awful long way away,
Okay. Let's talk about their North London rivals, Arsenal. And it's great having you here, Simon, because you managed to get a scoop on Granit Xhaka after all that went on a couple of months back, being booed off, and it looked like his time at the Emirates had come to an end. Now, as we're talking, they've not played their cup game against Portsmouth, which is an interesting one because they're flying in their division. They're unbeaten at home in 10. It could go either way. But what's the sentiment of where Arsenal are right now? And at this moment in time, it's still a little bit fresh post-Olympiakos.
Yeah, and I think the Olympiakos game, if anything, just reminded us of how much work Arteta's got to do. Those final days under Unai Emery were pretty bleak from a fans' point of view, the atmosphere at the ground, tactically. Anyone who saw Southampton come to the Emirates, Wolves come to the Emirates. Over 20 shots on goal, against a team at Arsenal at home was couldn't stand for that. The club, the supporters, and Arteta has slowly built foundations to try and improve this team. But that Olympiakos game, we saw the old habits that we have with Arsenal. A lack of concentration, didn't kill the game off, and they were made to pay for it. And so I think fans saw that result. They've been a great 2020 so far. They hadn't lost a game under Arteta, and they just sort of realised, hang on a minute, we need to remember where he's come from. And Xhaka is an example of that, because this is a player, who was the lightning rod for criticism under Emery. He was the one who took the brunt of the blame, of the criticism, and when he stormed off and threw his shirt at the fans, swore at the fans, many people thought that was the end. He thought that was the end. And it's a credit to Arteta that he's managed to bring him back into the squad pretty seamlessly, to the extent where no one had really spoken about it. And it's got to the stage now where he's fully back in the squad, harmony's there again, and that's a really good early win for Arteta to get someone like Xhaka on board, because anyone who knows the Arsenal training ground, knows the squad, he is a key part of that. And even if he's not the captain, he's a leader of that training ground.
Will he still be there post the summer, after the summer?
Yeah, 100%. I think the key was January, was whether he was going to go, and I think he was quite ready to leave the club and head back to Germany. But Arteta persuaded him that you need to stay here. I can make you part of the plans here. And Arteta was quite clever actually in his press conferences. He spoke about when he was at City, they looked at him as a player that he liked. So again,
I thought that was a good little spin actually.
And it's just a very clever, shrewd way of how Arteta's worked the media, which we know was difficult with Emery. Just those little sound bites to get everything on side. And now I think there's no doubt that Xhaka will be a key part of Arteta's team.
You know what? It just goes to show how good a man manager Arteta clearly is, and we've seen these social media excerpts of him having a conversation with Pep Guardiola, how they handle the likes of Raheem Sterling, where he could have done better, but he said, I sat him down, we had a chat, and then he kicked on after.
Yeah, I like his style and working with Guardiola's obviously honed his education, but he looks like the kind of person that will have learned from a lot of sources over his career, one who's been a manager in waiting throughout his career. I've also got a theory about managers as well, that when a player had everything except pace, they tend to be better managers because they have to think about the game more. And what did Arteta lack as a player?
Pace.
So anyway, that's my sort of dodgy theory for the week.
I think we're going to leave that there. Because you know what? What do you think about Paddy's mind-blowing theory of managers who lack pace during their playing days actually make better managers? Do you think he's right, or is he talking nonsense? That wouldn't be the first time.
As usual.
Anyway, Paddy, thanks for your company.
Thank you.
Great to see you too. See you next time.